So hey, I'm Evan. I'm here at the Bruckenlein Brothers Cabinet Shop. Today we're going to be building some mirror frames. Here's one that we've made already. It has mitered corners. We're going to use this router and we're going to put this profile in the back of it. So the mirror is going to sit on this bottom ledge, and then I'm going to cut out a 1/4-inch piece of plywood to put as backing. You won't see the back of the mirror since it'll be against a wall. That's essentially the process we'll be doing today. So for a Superior Alder, we'll need just over 9 feet by 2.5 inches. Looking for at least 5 inches so we can get 2 rips out of it. Here's one that will work. We check it, make sure there's not too many knots in it. This one should work. Look down the board and see how bowed it is. So now we'll have to cut them to the widths that we need. So we'll use the table saw and the jointer to make that happen. I'm going to clean this board up. It looks like the smallest width of the board is like 5.5. So I'll set my fence to that, or a little bit less. And we got this nice power feeder here, so it keeps the board tight to the fence, so we don't have to manually push the board. So as I look down the boards, there's still one side that's just a little bit cupped in. So we're going to bring it over to the jointer, and then we're going to clean that cupped edge and make it flat. We have these feather boards. They're magnetic, so they hold our board tight to the fence. It looks a lot more straight now. So the next step in the process is going to be to sand these boards to thickness and also to width. And we're going to be doing that by using the time saver here. So on the outside we have the control panel with different speeds and then abilities to just stop and start the belt. Then inside we have our big sanding belts. We're going to be starting off by using 80 grit sandpaper and work our way down. So we keep all our belts up hanging. So if they're sitting on the ground, they get knocked over. Sometimes they rip. Dust collector on, start the feed. And they come out the other side, and then it's just a game of running in circles. We'll do 120, and then after that we'll do 180, and then we'll move on to the thickness. Same process throughout. So now that we got these boards sanded, we're going to take them over to the miter saw and cut our pieces out. So in this part of the process, we're going to be cutting the mitered corners. So it's really important to get these cuts perfect, so it does take a long time. So I usually start with the top, and I cut 245s on it, and then I just work my way around. I'm going to be using this jig that's perfectly at 90 degrees. I'm going to put my 2 cuts together and make sure that it lines up and there's no gaps anywhere. And then I'm going to work my way around the mirror and then until I finish all of them. I'm going to set my saw to 45 degrees and just start there. And if I have to adjust, I can adjust that later. Because sometimes when you cut all the way through the middle of the board, the blade of the saw sometimes tends to wobble. So I want to take off just a tiny bit more. So after you have your first cut that's perfect, then you want to mark how far you need your long point to be. And it looks like I need 24 inches. I'm going to make these boards just a tiny bit long so we can trim them up at the end. Okay, I'll put that here and just work our way around with it. So then we want our mirror to be 30 inches tall, so the next board we make will be 30. And I do want to make sure I use the same side of the board as I cut all of these. So I just draw a line, and that's going to be the face of the board. We'll sand it off later. Bring this here and see what we need to do. That looks pretty clean to me, and then we'll check the corner. You almost always have to adjust the saw, but to me that looks just perfect. We'll just keep doing this, work our way all the way around the mirror. I'm gonna cut this at 30 inches and just check each corner to make sure they're perfect. I'm gonna do this for both mirrors. All right, so we got all the pieces cut out. Now we just gotta go and assemble it. We'll glue the miters together and then we'll router the backs and sand it down and we should be good to go. So there's a few different ways to assemble these. The way that I'm gonna do it is I'm gonna put glue between each of these pieces and then clamp them together. And then I'm gonna put a screw, a little trim head screw, through the bottoms of each of these and then also through the top just to hold that glue in place to let it set. So to start doing this, I'm gonna do just a through hole so then I can drive the screw in and it's only like catching on this piece. And you can see it shows up on this piece. Then I can continue with that hole. So now one by one we're going to go and put glue. We're going to use speed set type of glue, so you only have to clamp it for 15 minutes instead of 30. You still should wait a while after that before you stress the joint. And we'll inset the screw just a little bit so then we can go back and putty over it. I'm going to hold the joint together just for about a minute just so the glue has a time to dry. Just a little bit before I start moving this thing around. I'm just gonna wait a minute. Yeah, Jeopardy. We're just gonna repeat the same process for the other 3 joints until we make a complete mirror frame. So we're gonna let this dry, and then once it's done, we're gonna come back and we're gonna put it through that drum sander again so then it gets all flushed up like this one. And then after that, we're gonna use this router and we're gonna put this profile in the back of it. So the mirror is gonna sit on this bottom ledge. All right, so that's our process of building these mirror frames. If you like this content, you want to see more, just subscribe to our channel and just check out our other videos, and we'll see you next time.